Oh, sorry, guys. Hey, welcome to another edition of Who's Big Bill Talking To on Model Railroading Live, the number one model railroading show in the world. Welcome back. It's been a while since we've been around. Let's see who's in the rail artist, Indian Head Valley Railroad, good friend Frankie DeLauro. You Are Naked 4, John Baneka. Again, John, please excuse my Lynn McCurdy, John's Train, BFGR. Welcome. Hello to you guys out there. M&M Rails is on board. Nice to see you. So it's been a while since we've been on, with the summertime. Got the summertime thing going on. Everybody's out and about boating and whatever. John has taken a vacation. You guys know June, July, and August. He'll be back in September. We've been in touch with him, and he's just chilling, drinking those little drinks with the umbrella in it, and I hope he doesn't poke his eye out when he drinks it, because that happened to me once, and stuff like that. So just to give you a heads up, model railroading hasn't gone away. We're still around, except the summertime. A lot of guys, we got families, young, they got young kids, and us old folks, we got to get out and about. Retirees like to play the little, bocce ball, or that's an Italian game, and some of us like to golf and stuff like that. So we've been out and about doing family things. So please, excuse our absence, but we will be doing shows like this. We have a great lineup for tonight and for the next 2 weeks, next couple of weeks. We have a good guest coming on, and with that, I just want to give you a heads up. Oh, one thing I do want to let you guys know and I'm going to mention this later on during the broadcast when we get more people in. You guys got to go check out the Nearly Historical Railroad. You got to check out their latest video. Don G has done a really great job. I would advise you to go see it. It really is a little different. It's not a lot of talking, but I think you'll enjoy it. I really do. Nearly Historical Railroad has definitely put together in their latest video a very good video with good content. So go check them out, Nearly Historical Railroad. As far as what's going on in Model Railroading Live, Railroad Empires, How We Build Them, is gearing up for a September issue on Model Railroading Live. Right now, the Fab Four are together, and they're putting their heads together and kind of brainstorming for when they what they want to do and how they want to do it, and from their secret clandestine double probation meetings, from which I'm not allowed to attend because I'm as Ralph Cramden from The Honeymoon, I'm a blabbermouth. I'll tell you everything they're doing, but they're planning ahead. Railroad Empires, How We Build Them, for a great September show into the fall and the winter. And Johnny obviously will be back in September with Who's John Talking To, John's Train Talk Show. So he'll be back. Don't worry, he hasn't gone away. He's just taking a little hiatus, checking things out, getting himself back, regrouping, as he said. And here on Who's Big Bill Talking To, we have a good guest lined up for tonight. But let me tell you, in the next week, on the 21st of July, we will have Tina from Mojave Model Railroad. Hi, she's in the room now. Tina will be our guest next week on Who's Big Bill Talking To. Everyone is looking forward to that. And that's next Wednesday, July 21st at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All the shows are on Model Railroading Live are at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on July 28th, we're going to have a new guy, brand new to the hobby, Tim McLaughlin. Tim McLaughlin. He'll be on. And he's brand new coming into the hobby. I saw this gentleman on Facebook, and he's really, really enthusiastic and really exciting to watch. And he's got a great layout that he's building. And I'm looking forward to these guests. I'm looking forward to Tina and to Tim in the next 2 weeks. But right now we have a good guest on, and he's got him sitting. We got him sitting in that green room. I hope Ari didn't leave that gasoline. Not sushi. I think it was chicken, gasoline fried chicken this time with a warm bottle of Mountain Dew. So I hope he didn't eat it because last time I checked, it was not that good. But that's our budget here at Model Railroading Live. Right now, we would like to introduce you to Lad McClusky. Lad.
Hey,
There he is.
I'm still looking for the gasoline chicken and the warm bottle of Mountain Dew.
I hope you didn't eat any of that stuff because it is. That's what they give me as a pre-dinner snack, and I tell you that we got to up the budget around this place because it's not good. We used to have gasoline sushi. That didn't go over too well. Yeah, that didn't go over too well.
That doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't. Anyway, Lad, thank you so much for joining us. All Scale Miniatures. That's the name of the company. It
is, and thank you for having me on. This is pretty exciting. I can't wait to talk to some of your guests and let them know what they're wondering about. So,
well, just to give the people, the guys out there, earlier you saw me reading this. This is the June issue of Model Railroad and Craftsman, and I happened to be perusing my magazine, and I came across this article, and it's all these miniature stuff right there, and I thought this was a pretty interesting thing. And in the corner here, they had right there. They had a box with a number, and I picked up the phone. I dialed, and I got 3 rings, and Lad answered the phone. And the first words out of my mouth were, "I'm not selling you anything. I'm not here to check up on the warranty of your 2010 Honda Civic."
That's the good one. You're not with AT&T trying to tell me or sell me satellite television.
Yes, I did say that I am from Model Railroading Live and would love for you to be on the show. And without any hesitation, he went, "Yeah, sure, no problem."
Yeah.
I wish all my calls were answered that way very easily. So, Lad, tell us a little about All Scale Miniatures. What is it that I was attracted to, and I actually ordered some stuff, but please tell us.
So I guess there's a bigger story, but I'll tell you the little story first. So All Scale Miniatures is dedicated to making miniatures that are pretty much new designs. Well, not pretty much. They are all new designs. We own all the designs on all of the parts that we make. We are an additive manufacturing company. We do everything from aerospace to medical device to, I can't even think, automotive. We've done some work for government agencies. We've done some work for several colleges and universities across the country. And we have this, we like to create things. So we hire manufacturing and mechanical engineers. And when they have some spare time, we have them CAD. And it gives them, the ability to become better at what they do. And it gives us small parts. We CAD at full size. And once we have the CAD, we can adjust it to whatever scale we want to, since it's truly a scale. So we do, 1/48th, 1/64th, 1/87th. We do 1/160th, 2/20th. It depends on the part, of course. But, a lot of the stuff we do in literally farm scale, which is S scale, O, H, O, N, Z, etc. So.
And N as well, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and all the scales. So obviously, hence the name All Scale Miniatures.
Yeah, we figured it was a fitting name.
Yeah. And now this, hold on, we're not. I don't know if we're getting. Ari, are we getting the comment section? Because it seems like it's stuck. I don't know.
I think it has
Q&A.
Chicken.
The chicken, it could be. Hold on for 1 second. Let me just do this. Okay, I'm backstage now. Let's see if I can get this. Okay, it still seems to be all right. I'm just on the other side of you now. We just switched places, but anyway.
And I got to turn and look this way.
Okay. So we're All Scale Miniatures. Now, All Scale Miniatures is a subsidiary of your main company, which produces
Yeah,
auto parts, farm equipment, stuff like that.
yeah, literally everything under the sun. And I'll kind of give you a rundown. So the main company is called Primary Manufacturing. And sorry. We have just a really simple logo. We try and keep everything simple. It's just primarymfg.com. That's our main company. And we run about 16 different materials. And each of these materials have unique properties. So everything from this is a polymer that is good to about 221 degrees Celsius. It's very rigid. It's very stiff. It goes all the way through. This is an epoxy material that is right now the most readily available 3D printed material on the market. This is called EPX82. We can go through. We have RPU 70, which is a rigid polyurethane. We have flexible polyurethanes. We have some really, really amazing things that are elastomers.
Really?
So now the elastomers are really cool. The company that we partnered with is called Carbon 3D, and Carbon partnered with Adidas. And maybe I'll grab that. I didn't think about this before, but
I just love hands-on stuff.
So this is what the Adidas material looks like. This is our, let's see, this is EPU. This is 41. We work with EPU 40, which is virtually the same. And it's a different lattice on end to end. So this end is really soft and squishy, and this end is really rigid just because it's thicker. If you look closely, you can see that it's thick here and gets thin to here. Right. So if you take that application and put it into shoes, there's the one of the, I think the only 3D printed shoe that's mass produced. So this material is so amazing. It has a 300% elongation at break. So that means you can basically pull it as hard as you want and it doesn't break. So, and we go to silicones, which are softer yet and more pliable. This is a intraoral compatible, so you can, I'm told there's a hospital that makes airways for infants. And we have a couple clear materials, and then we switch to another company that we work with called 3D Systems. We have a part that will handle 300 degrees Celsius. Also rigid, semi-rigid, flexible. And then again, we get into the materials that we work with using Hewlett-Packard's multi-jet fusion. So we have nylon 12, and we have TPU, which is also a little bit more stiff. So whatever your need out there in the industry, whether you need a production part or whether you need bridge manufacturing to get you through until your injection mold is ready. So whether that's 1,000 parts that somebody needs or 10 parts or one-offs, that's what we make.
So now with the primary manufacturing company that you're main, how did the offshoot of All Scale Miniatures come about?
So every time we build, it's all liquid resins that we use. And so every time we build a part, there's somewhere between 30 and 70 milliliters of waste. And I don't like to waste things. So we had a young man who was working here as an engineer, and this was pretty early on, and he didn't have a lot to do. And I said, there's a fire hydrant outside. Would you go out and measure that and CAD it up for me? Okay. So we went out and he measured the fire hydrant. He CAD'd it up just like it looks. It's an exact replica of the fire hydrant, but he designed it. And I said, guys, let's try and print these. Let's try and make these super small. I didn't really think about scaling them at the time, but we made them, pretty tiny. They were a little bit bigger than N scale, or sorry, than O scale. And so that's kind of where it started. And then I talked to some folks at the local train club here, And they said, yeah, we could use all kinds of stuff. We could use garbage cans and 5-gallon pails for our circus. And, we can't find these recycle bins that we have downtown. And, we have a hard time finding all these different things. And so we started CADing things, and one thing led to another, and we have an offshoot of a company. So, and now we have a full-time graphic designer that works for us, and she is just designing like mad. She's got some amazing stuff coming out. We've got some parts that have been out forever, like this would be an O-scale fire hydrant. And then I'll just show you real quick, and then I can show you in a photo as well. But this would be, we added a little sprue on the bottom so that we don't have to count 5 out at a time. Otherwise, when you have an order of, say, 10,000 fire hydrants that are going to Walthers or something like that, it's
easier to count.
Yeah, so we just put the sprue on there, and then what you do, since these are built all flat on a platform, when you're ready to go, you just snap it off, and they're completely flat on the bottom, so you can set them on any hard surface. And if I had a level surface here, and they'll stand up.
Yeah, I purchased your
oh sure, the whiskey barrels.
Yeah. Very good. And also I got your let's see if I can put this up there.
Oh, the welding cart.
Yeah, the welding cart. Really good detail on it too. The hose that wraps on the bottom. You can't really see it well in this light, but I painted the hose red and stuff like that. And I love the whiskey barrels that has Lawson's whiskey.
There's a great story that goes with that. The young lady that was here as an engineer intern, she was from one of the better schools in the state, and she came in and she was making this whiskey barrel that was on the list of things that somebody wanted, was a whiskey barrel. So I said, she came in, she goes, I got the whiskey barrel done. I said, well, did you put your name on it? She goes, no. I said, why don't you put your name on it? She goes, well, why? I said, then it'll be on there forever. You'd leave it on there? I'm like, absolutely. So yeah, so Larson's whiskey is that old, I think that old Scottish brand, right?
Yeah, that old Scottish
brand of Norwegian whiskey.
Yeah, Scottish whiskey, Lawson. Yeah, Norwegian by way of Scotland.
Right.
But yeah, just looking at some of your stuff is like it's an O scale. I'm sorry. I got distracted. There's a lightning bug in my train room. It started flickering. I was like,
you can harness it and put it in a cab. Think of that.
Yeah, there you go. It's allscaleminiatures.com.
It is. And we also are pretty much everything. All of our older stuff is all on Walthers as well. And it's also on eBay. eBay is not something I really enjoy selling on, but we have to do it, I think, in order to grow this business. And our goal is to make what people want. And so we have a request list, and I looked at it today, and it was probably, 100 items long.
Really?
Yep.
What are some of the things that people are asking to have built?
Let me pull it up here real quick. I have it. It's on computer, and I will pull it up and look at it.
You're also willing to, if someone comes to you and says, hey, I'd really love pelicans.
Yes, exactly. So I have a picnic table, a deer, Main Street people, elephant rides, carnival rides, seated people, ducks, fox, bighorn sheep, buffalo calf, coyotes, bike, HO fish. Not sure why you want fish, but fish, mining carts. This is an interesting one. Details on strips. Basically, I was asked at a train show if we would do strips of rivets that were just on a flat strip, and so you could just put rivets where you wanted rivets.
That makes that makes sense.
It does. Salvation Army kettle, golfers. So like a rabbit and a golfer. I'll show you those. Those are almost done. A casket draped in a flag, and I'll tell you a really good story on that too. Flamingos, we have those. Sawhorses, we tried. The legs were too brittle, and there's no way we could ship them. Steel dome. Oh, milk crates, fireplaces. I don't really know what you do, how you do a fireplace, but it doesn't matter. We'll look into it. Garden gnomes, holiday kit ideas, more lamp posts, piano benches, fence gates, and I can keep going. There's a long list here. Elk, desk file box, 1950s desk lamp, 50s desk telephone, desk chair, four-wheeled, and a cat. We already have a fluffy cat up above, but
Do you do Jersey barriers, like the road barriers?
we do those. Yep, we sure do.
Now, if any of our guests had wanted to come to get anything made, is there what's the cost? Is there anything what involves in that? Because people always will ask let's just get it out. Let's call.
It's really easy. If you're patient, just ask, and we'll put it on our list, and it'll get built when it gets built.
Oh, okay, I got you.
If you're impatient and you want something right away, so we do parts for other people as well in the train industry. We do lights for, and I'll tell you the guy's name afterwards because I just told him I was going to introduce you. I didn't say I was going to talk about him on a show, but he does lights, some really amazing lights out there, and so we do some of the parts for him that are too detailed to make on lesser printers. So.
Right. So now the jobs that you do, the regular jobs that you do, your main manufacturing company, the leftover resin. Can you use the leftover resin to make? I'm not too savvy, so you have to educate me on.
So yeah, the resins are two-part resins for the majority of our materials are two-part resins. So you mix them together like an epoxy. They have a pot life, so they can last for 8 hours or 10 hours or 15 hours or longer. It depends on which resins they are. And then once they're done, you have to dispose of them. So what we try and do is we try and use every single bit of it. We have a larger machine, and that has more waste than our smaller machines. So our smaller machines are what we build the miniatures on. And yeah, you can use it. So I have an order right now. A guy locally here is doing like a museum quality setup, and he wants to recreate the area in South Dakota where we're at. He wants to recreate that from about 1910 to 1920. And so earlier, so 1900, there were still buffalo there. And so he wanted buffalo. So I have an order from him for 200 buffalo. Now we're going to donate them, and they'll be made out of whatever waste resin we have. And they'll detail paint the whole herd. We gave them, I think we gave them 50 last year, and then COVID hit. So, but yeah, we'll do 200 buffalo for him, all different sizes, and a bull, and then 2 or 3 different cows, and then a calf. So,
Frank DeLauro asked, "How about spare auto parts, fenders, bumpers, car doors for a junkyard, old model car parts?"
I got a list. I'm writing it down.
That's good for me because I have an extensive junkyard in my layout. I could use those. Yeah,
and so here's the thing: if it's if like a spare fender, like an old fender, say off like a 50 Chevy truck or something, man, it would take not very much resin at all to build those parts. The design would be super simple because so we have about 20 cars that we're in the process of putting out on the market. And we could very simply just take a car and take the CAD for that car and just cut off part of it and leave the rest and call it a part. Like if you look right over my shoulder here, there's a Jeepster sitting there. You could just literally take all but the front fender of the Jeepster and slice it off in a not even a CAD program, just an editing program, and you have a spare fender or a spare hood. That's a great idea.
Look at that, Frank. Frank, you're actually worth good for something instead of playing golf. Frank's my buddy. He calls me up at 5:30 in the morning and says, I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm waiting for first light so I can hit the tee, the golf ball." He's an avid golfer. Good friend of mine. Another suggestion by Lynn McCurdy. He says, wreck cars like it hit a tree.
Very straightforward. We take an existing car and we just modify the drawing without going into a CAD program. So here's why we hired the graphic designer. When you have something that is, I don't have a great example here, but so here's a part that we make, right? So this is a really intricate detail part, but you'll notice that everything on here appears to be perfect because it is. This was designed by a mechanical engineer. He calculated how much water can flow in here and how much goes through here. I mean, so it's pretty detailed stuff. And what I'm looking for is I want someone who can do organics. And so when you do a Bernie on a journey,
right.
You know, you need organic stuff, and my engineers can't do this. So we hired an artist to do this, and she's amazing. And she's only been here about 2.5 months. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, I like that. Wreck cars, it would be just simply taking a car and warping it in the software that she uses, and then setting it out to print. So
now again, the primary manufacturing is your main business, and this is an offshoot. Now, how this is about 3 years now. You've been the old scale, right? And
yep.
You actually send guys out to train shows, right, to find out what the model rail. I have to tell you, when 3D printing first arrived on the scene, I remember going to a train show, and there was a guy there with a booth, and he had a 3D printer set up, and the guy was the salesperson for this company, and I was asking him about this, and he said to me, this was on the advent of 3D printers coming to the public. He said 3D printers have been around for a long time. He said, but you guys in this model railroading, he says, you are bringing it to the forefront. He says, because I can't keep enough of these stuff. We can't make enough of these machines for you guys. And he said, like right now, it's really expensive to buy one. But he says, remember calculators? When calculators first came out, they were $1,000. Now Staples throws one in every time you buy $5 worth of ream of paper. They'll give you a calculator. He said, that's what's going to happen here. This is going to start to come down. And so I remember.
Go ahead.
No, it was just an amazing thing to watch, and now see it, and now see your company, like your company, take from what because you got to have the machines running, right? So you don't want them.
They got to run.
They got to run.
Yep. Even if they run for 10 minutes in between 2 1-hour builds to build a big part, and then 10 minutes to build a bunch of miniature stuff, they're still running, and it helps us pay for the machine because if you run it 8 hours a day, you have to take the $50,000 a year lease for the machine, and you have to divide it by 40 or 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year. Well, all of a sudden you do that three shifts, and now you can divide it out by 680 instead of, or 720. There's 7,200 hours. I mean, instead of 2,080. So
yeah, right. Mojave Model Railroad, Tina says, we need a Bill Graham printed in resin to put on our layouts. I don't think they make enough resin.
We got to get him scanned.
Yeah, I don't think they make enough, resin to model. They recently, Mini Prints, Bernard Heller, he just did a thing on Lionel Strain. They scanned Lionel Strain to do a cast of him, a resin cast of him for his cancer charity.
That's cool.
To sell that resin.
That's what the Bernie was for. It was for our local fire department or ambulance crew. I think we sold about 40 of them, painted like that for $50 a piece to be donated to our ambulance crew.
Oh, cool.
It's not that I'm a Bernie fan. I just think it was a real positive that came out.
No, sure.
Because I heard we don't talk about politics on here.
Well, we try not to, but sometimes they leak in. But that's all right. All right.
One of the things I want to show you, so this is an example of what FDM is. So FDM is the type of printing that most people have seen, where it's got the little extruder, and it heats it up. And so FDM has its use. It's great for certain things, but it doesn't have a lot of strength in this direction. And so what really makes what we do different is, for example, this is a part that we make. This is a part for a company that is an electric bus company. So to date, I think they've made about 100 buses. And why would you spend $40,000 to $60,000 to have this injection molded for 100 buses when you can come to us and you have this? It's a rock hard piece. It's just like an injection molded piece. It has the texture built into it. Now, everything here on my desk that I have is failures because I don't ship failures. I keep them and I use them as examples. So this one was taken, an employee was a little bit aggressive on the top surface, so it didn't get shipped. But normally it would look like that. And that's the type of part that we make.
I would believe that part for the bus would be a to open the rear door.
I think it's a motor select, so you can choose which motors you're running. So it's something in it. I don't know. I've seen the buses on the highway out in California, but I've never actually ridden in one. So
Tina from Mojave Model Railroad says, what would be cool is some really detailed roof items like AC, vents, and stuff. She says, I recently bought a Walters kit, but it wasn't as detailed as I would have liked.
Well, I have some pictures of some of our stuff. And
sure, let's share that.
Maybe let some of those run, and we could show you how detailed some of them are.
Yeah, please do. Let's do that.
So this is the fire hydrant. And if you'll notice, this fire hydrant, and this is the type of thing that when you ask an engineer, especially a young engineer, go design me a fire hydrant. Well, what they do is they go to a company called McMaster Car and they get all the fittings and the bolts. And so these are actual bolts or CAD of an actual bolt with thread on it. And there's nuts on these as well. And I don't know if you can see it, but this one here has a nut on it. And they all have nuts on them. And the bolts are too long, but that's okay. But that's the kind of detail we put into our stuff. So if you were to look at this in the actual CAD model, it has everything, including all the threads, the nuts, the bolts. I mean, it's all there. And so when you start with that, you can't capture all of it because of the pixel size when you're printing, but you can capture a lot of it. So if you start with a really good model, you end up with a really good model. If you start with a really crappy model, you end up with a crappy model. So that's some of the, some of the idea of what we do here. There's a moose that we do. The orangutan, we did this one to fit in a cage wagon, which I'll show you later on. Your classic traffic cone. I was asked by one of the guys here, he said, hey, I'm doing this. And so the reason I don't have a problem with this, because I know once we put these out there, they will sell. So we have every dumpster you can imagine, front load, rear load with forks, front load with pegs, wheels, no wheels. It's just absurd. One of the things we like to make are pallets. They're really cool. So this would be HO scale. And, this has been painted, but unpainted. The slats are still there. All the detail is there. It's meant to be a regular pallet. It's a 42 by, I don't know if it's 38 by 42 or something, whatever the standard size pallet is.
And you sell that on your website?
We do. Yep. The garbage can, the pallet, the blue barrels. So, and I'll tell you the best story about the blue barrels. I had a customer buy some on eBay, and then they said, we'd like to return them. And then they left a comment, and the comment was, it was a terrible review. And they said, I bought these, was going to use them to put water in, and they're only about as big as a button or something like that. Little itty bitty things. But if you notice the drawing on this particular, or the CAD on this is an actual barrel. And I have a bigger one when we get to it, I'll show you. But there's even an up sign. There's two, like on the side, usually there's a sticker that has an arrow that says up. And so this was drawn with the bungs in it. We have other barrels that, so if you want super detail, you should be able to find it, because we have steel barrels that have rims. We have steel barrels that have bungs. We have them with open tops, closed tops. So yeah, there's the one right there. If you look right here, you can see the arrows, and the bungs are drawn in it, and the rim is on it. So it's an actual plastic drum. And I've been asked many times if, you know, how much liquid it holds, and it's like none, because it's solid. A toolbox. This fits in the Atlas pickup. Atlas has a pickup that you can buy, and this toolbox fits right inside the back. Mailbox, we were asked to do these, and the reason we got this ask was because the ones that were available online that were cast metal, the castings are so old and they look so not good, right? I'm going to say they don't look good, but so everything from the flag is on there, the handle is on there. I mean, again, there's a dumpster with wheels and pegs, so that would be a front load dumpster. More
manhole covers. Oh wow, that's so cool.
So
and
there's the residential air conditioner in a circle. Also, there should be a square. This is a really super close up of an HO scale window air conditioner. So I've also got a request to build these with the sill and also the brace that goes under it. So that's on her list, I know, as well. There's the square one for residential on the pad. These are HO. Again, a different kind of dumpster that you can pick up. So there's a little bit of art to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, even the printing, because these were printed, you can see the pixels here. What's interesting, these are printed flat on their back. So they're printed on the opposite side that we're looking at. And so, well, everybody thinks that you're going to see layer lines. So with this process, there's no layer lines. What you see is pixels that turn off and are frozen in time. So this printed here, and that pixel continued to here, and then it was shut off. And then this pixel was on until it got to here, and it shut off. And then this pixel was on till here. And as this gets steeper, this gets closer and closer together. So that's what you're seeing. You're not seeing the layer lines like you used to see with FDM.
Right, right.
Oh, and I like to use a wheat penny because I think they're cool. But yet another dumpster with wheels. A close-up of a pallet. And she spent a little bit of time painting this. I don't know how long, but it does look nice.
Now, when the pallets, are they in one like this when you purchase them, or do you have to cut them apart and put them together?
Nope, the pallet looks exactly like this except for the paint.
Okay.
This is how they come. They come all built together. They're, you know, a little plastic pallet. So I don't know if I have any on my desk. I have a bunch of stuff I grabbed quick, but I don't have any pallets. So nope, everything comes completely assembled.
And how many in a pack, if you were to purchase the pallets, the barrels, how do you package that?
I think almost everything comes in a 5-pack unless it's something really unique. Like the elk or the moose comes in a single pack. I think the piano comes in a single pack. You know, that kind of stuff. So there's your barrel and more different types of drums. So there's one that's got a closed top with the ring around it that's got the nut that closes it. So the good thing or the funny thing about this is I don't think our designer has ever actually used an acetylene tank. I've never seen one with a gold top, but that's okay. So
first time for everything.
Yep, exactly.
And it's unique.
It is unique, yeah. So we have like a Nipco heater, a garage heater, or a kerosene.
Oh wow, that is so cool.
Yeah, then the oxygen, acetylene, and these are basically different sizes, and they're ready to paint. They're all ready to paint. Air compressor. So we have a down like a stationary air compressor that's in this direction. We also have a tall, skinny one. So these would be examples of the tanks. This is how you'd get them. This would be, I guess, N scale, and this would be HO. Is that right? About the size of a penny? Yeah, that'd be about right. That might be O. Those are probably O, HO, N, and Z.
Right, right.
So
Mojave Model Railroading, Tina says, okay, who is giving me a loan so I can place a very large order tonight? She also says, I love the nail details on those things.
So I think the nail details were painted. I think she
Yeah.
touched that with a brush to paint them on.
Mm.
So, again, the oxygen tank. So yeah, there's our upright air compressor.
Ah, yeah.
And let me tell you how particular people are. So I listed this on eBay. I had someone list it as an 80-gallon air compressor. And a guy bought it, and he sent me a note. He goes, I don't know what you're doing. This isn't an 80-gallon air compressor. It's more like a 60.
Some people are very panicky, you know.
So I changed it to a tall air compressor.
Yes, there you go.
So and here's the welding cart that you talked about.
Yeah, that's the one I purchased over here, except I didn't do such a great deal of painting the oh, where am I? Here I am. You guys really got the detail yellow and red. I couldn't get my brush in there.
Well, she must have an ESOP welder, and I guess this is a Lincoln that would be normally blue from Miller. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, the tanks in all scales. So several people ask for crates, and I've also had people ask for large cardboard boxes. And I get it that cardboard boxes are something that, but so what I'll do for the cardboard boxes, and I'll show you this more when we get a little further in here, I'll show you some soda machines from the 1950s. But we just did the crates. So this is an actual, like, I would say it's probably a 3-foot by 3-foot wooden crate. So what's nice about it is if you want all the same size wooden crates, you can do that. Or you can call us and say, or send us an email and say, hey, look, I want to buy a whole entire bunch of crates. Can you change the sizes? So we can have crates that are 2x2, 3x3, 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, whatever dimension crates you want. Now, if we are to do that, then we'll sell them as a kit from that point on. So what we try and do is do what people want us to do, and then continue that on as a kit or as a group.
Right, right. Yeah, that makes absolute sense. Sparky 107 says, wow, don't drop the small ones on the carpet. Gone forever.
So here's our rule. A lot of people have dropped things on the carpet here, and the question is, well, where to go? How should I find? Oh, I got to find it. It's like, no, the vacuum cleaner will take care of it. Especially when we get there, you'll understand why. We have rabbits that she's just recently designed, and we just built them in the lab, and you'll scratch your head with the size of them. So we had a guy that was doing a house, that was building a house in his layout, and he wanted individual cinder blocks. He wanted a pallet full of cinder blocks too, and he wanted them stacked like they would actually be stacked. And these are not quite how they would be stacked, because normally they'd be banded and there'd be a fork slot through them, but we put them on a pallet instead. But we sell individual cinder blocks in as small as N scale in packs of 5.
Wow.
So, and they're really cool. I mean, they look really cool. Yeah. We build them in gray, and they're fun. Yeah.
I purchased these. I actually purchased these, and I'm putting them on my warehouse harbor scene, and they look really good. They look really good.
And again, they come in a little strip, so you just hold them with your thumb and break them off, and they peel right apart. So, it's kind of fun. It gives us a chance to, see what we can actually do when because this stuff. I shouldn't say this because I don't mean any ill to this industry, but this stuff matters, but not as much compared to what we're doing on a regular basis. So.
Well, I think I understand what you're saying, and I don't think it's disparaging the remark. I think that you, even though it's a side business, you're not taking it. Well, what's the word? Well, how can I explain this? You're not taking it like, okay, I have this extra resin, I got to keep the machines running, so let's just bang this stuff out. There seems to be a lot of care and detail to what you're doing. So
yeah, well, because it's our name. I mean, if we're going to build something, it's going to be nice. If it's not, we're not going to build it. Did we lose Bill?
If that's what you do, be back momentarily. There we are. Lad?
There we go. I'm here.
Okay, I'm here. Well, what I was trying to say was, it's even though it's a side thing you're doing because you need to keep there's a passion you can see in the detail, and there's a care in it. So I don't think it's like, hey, let's just make this and make a few pennies off it to keep the machines running. You're really putting a lot of effort into this, and the graphic designer should be applauded. What's her name?
Her name is Allison. And
when you see Allison, say to Allison, Bill gave you his root. He didn't give you his regular guns. He gave you his rootin' tootin' guns. Okay, let her know that I gave her the rootin' tootin'.
Well, and let's hold off on that until you see what's coming next. So let me run through some of these real quick. So there's a cinder block up close. That's what they look like, raw, unpainted. So that would be O, H, O, and N. We can't do them in Z. Garbage can. Here's what happened with the garbage cans. It got thick because it was so thin in the original CAD that you could actually see through it. So it became, you had to paint it, and they were super flexible. So we had to thicken them. So that's why they look like they do. There's the garbage cans again, O, H, O, and N. Barrels with rims and bungs. So we have a barrel of trash, an open barrel, a dumpster again, whiskey barrels. We have some different kegs. I was asked to do a beer theme, and so we made a beer wagon from the 1920s that's full of kegs. We made a bunch of aluminum kegs. We made wooden kegs. We have wooden kegs on stands. None of those are on our website at this point because we're backed up on getting them built. So that's what she's been working on, is getting these things out and getting them built. So.
Well, Rail Artist is leaving us, ladies and gentlemen. Time for this old guy to hit the rack. Big day ahead tomorrow. See you all later. Big Bill, thanks. And thank you, Rail Artist, for joining us tonight. Be well, be safe, and be blessed, brother.
There you go.
I love the kegs, the beer kegs.
Yeah, and so this one has kind of a funny story. This was a model that somebody brought me, and they brought it in, and it was an old one from the 50s. And the guy said, I don't know what these kind of metal drums were for, but I'd like some. So we catted them up for him and built them. And then I had a salesman come in and go, well, what are those? I said, oh, those are wine kegs. Wine kegs were only used from like 54 to 58. There was never such a thing. But so they're sold. I think they're even listed on eBay as wine kegs. So.
Right.
I don't know. You have some artistic freedom, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so there's the barrels again. I'll buzz through this. There's the, garbage cans, more garbage cans, different styles. And again, this stuff is, if you look, this is all designed by engineers. And you can see the designs because they're crisp, they're clean, they don't really flow. Everything except for the orangutan and the moose are designed by engineers. So there's a recycle can and a and again, not layers, pixels on and off.
Right.
A bike rack, different recycle can. Garbage can says push on it. Some fuel barrels. These come in different lengths, and they come with the hose on them and the pump on them, and without the hose and without the pump. And a desk. There's a chair being designed for it. This is kind of a garage kit with the Craftsman-like toolbox. And these come printed red, so if you don't want to paint them, you don't have to. The jerry can, which is kind of fun, that was one that, well, there's a lot of stories here, but the jerry cans come without spouts. They're also made with spouts, but we sell them without spouts because a lot of times the spouts break. So they're the same price, whether you get spouts or no spouts. Upright tool chest, there's the jerry can. That's a larger one. That's what the design looks like. We had to thicken the neck so it wouldn't break. There's your jersey barriers.
Oh, nice. Yeah, very good.
Honestly, I thought she did a great job with making that one look like it's a real cement jersey.
Yeah, she did. She did. She did.
And that's what they look like when they're off the machine. And again, we went out and measured jersey barriers.
I'm sure you did.
Propane tank. I don't know how big that one is. And so this is really kind of a fun item here. We did the grill, but we wanted to do the propane tanks. So this, and I'll just show you the container. So this is, that's O-scale propane tanks. And so they have everything, including the ring. They have the modern, well, you can't see any of this because my camera's not going to focus on it, but they have the modern triangle valve, everything that you'd have in a modern propane tank. So that's O scale, that's HO scale. And as you can see, they're authentic all the way through.
Drew Dude's model train says the Jersey barriers aren't available in HO scale on the website, on your website.
So there are some things, and I'll have to check on that, but I would guess there are some things that are actually too large. We kind of have set a limit on the amount of time we're going to allow the machines to run to do this.
Oh, okay.
And because some things are too large, it doesn't make enough sense. Because I would guess they're, what would they be, about 4 foot? Like, they're about 4 foot tall, right, in real life?
Yeah.
Okay.
Waist high.
Waist high, yeah. So they might be too much mass, and if they don't meet that criteria, I mean, if they're not small enough, we don't make them. Like, we're not going to sell cars in HO because the cars are just too big when we get to them. So, I mean, the other thing is I don't know what people are willing to pay, and I don't want to charge what they cost, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Frank Delorio says Christmas paraphernalia is endless with this. Trees, deer, skaters, snowmen, endless, I tell you, endless.
So we did, I think that was for Atlas, we did Christmas pieces. We did a Santa Claus, like a plywood cutout like you'd have on your yard that says Noel, and then another one that had a Santa Claus and the reindeer, so you could link them up and put them on a roof.
Right.
Yeah, and again, that's exactly what we're trying to do, is fill that niche that people want. So if you have something you want, let us know. We'll try and build it. So, well,
if anybody tuning in late, we're talking with Lad McClusky from allscalesminiatures.com, and right now we're in the process of showing some of this 3D items that he has for sale and has built, and he'll take suggestions, and when they're built, he'll put them on the website. So, fire extinguisher, very nice.
That's fun. There's all 3 scales again. So this has a great story, and I'll move on. So there's a guy that does presidential trains, and he sells them. And he called us and said, look, I have about 150 presidential trains that I need to do when President Bush died. And he said, I'd like a nice casket. And so we built this casket for him, and he painted it and sold it with his train car that traveled. It was just gorgeous. And it was kind of a really neat thing for us to do. And, so it's pretty neat to be able to do that kind of stuff, So
I had my friend Miles Hale, extraordinary modeler and a all around sweetheart of a guy, great guy. Him and his wife Fran. He had done the lettering on my Kentile sign and built and helped. He 3D printed the sign, the structure. But I also wanted my layout is based in South Brooklyn, New York, the Bush Terminal, and we used to have down on Union Street the South Brooklyn Casket Company on 4th Avenue. And it was a casket company, and they made caskets there.
Wow!
So he made the signage for me. And when he sent me the signage, he sent a whole bag. He 3D printed coffins for me, so that I could display outside. So I had one that I took and I cut open and I put a skeleton in it, laid it against the wall and stuff like that. I mean, South Brooklyn Casket never did that, but just to give it,
But it's fun. I was at a layout, and they had a little sign as you walked in there. It said, "Can you find the following?" And they had a seek and find. So you look for a skunk, a cat on a rail. I mean, all these different things, and it's awesome to do that. It's just part of what makes this whole industry fun. So,
yeah. So that's good.
This is a hot seller. It's a 5-gallon cooler from Coleman. It comes 2-piece. The lid is actually a different piece than the body. The ice chest, that was the original. This is the one we now make. These are decals. So we do water slide decals. So you get a cooler in white and you get water slide decals in either red or blue. Garbage cans. So these are the soda machines. Basically, they're a small block that we print, and then the detail comes from the water slide decal. So it's a wrap, like you'd wrap your car in.
Right.
So that's kind of fun. Air compressors, a plethora of things for your garage. Canoes, they come. So this has to be supported to get from there to there. So we supported it with the paddles. So you can break the paddles out, or you can just leave them in. Bike racks, and I'm trying to move through this stuff. Toilet, and notice there's no seat on the toilet. This was meant to be set outside or in a junkyard, I guess, but you can use it wherever. There's some of the rooftop stuff that we were talking about earlier. There'd be a rooftop air conditioner, an anvil. That's our cooler. That's a larger than O scale cooler, for example, but it has all the cup holders and everything that a regular cooler has in it. The reason we did the cooler, I'm going to back up here if I can. The reason we did the cooler was because we were asked by a guy. He said, I can never find a cooler to put on the back of the locomotive, of the engine. And these guys, the engineers, take their lunch. And a lot of times they just set a cooler on the back step. And this is what cooler I need. So we built that small cooler for him. So
cool.
That was kind of fun. And the thing is, if we build it for you, and you don't pay for the design, then we just add it to our repertoire and other people can buy it. So this is fun. We did this for my son. And then, of course, I have a dumb joke to go with you. So that's a Tesla charger, right? And that's a bull that we built. So do you know what this is? Anybody on the chat know what this might be?
We haven't got anything yet. The bull with his head through the Tesla charger.
Yeah.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
All right, I'll give it to you. How about a charging bull?
Whoa! I'll be here all week, folks. Don't forget a bull charge, Dre Do model train. Okay, you were close.
You were
an
close.
Electric bull.
Ooh,
No, it's a charging. It's a charging bull. Charging, get it? Charging.
All right, I'll buzz through these. We have some
suitcases. I like the ATM. I like this. I like the U.S. Post Office.
And this is also going to be one we'll probably be adding a decal with as well. Suitcases. We also have a stack of suitcases coming that are stacked the other way. So like you'd set them down in a train station. ATM, a modern ATM, piano. This is the full-size, regular scale, classic outhouse from the Midwest. This is a garage kit with car ramps. Everything you see here is on the website. These are some of the new things. Sheep are brand new. It was amazing to watch her design these sheep. There's what they look like when you get them. There's the line of soda machines. Those should be on the website as well. And
nice.
notice the Soylent Green one over here.
Yes, yes, yes.
Somebody has a sense of humor too, you know?
Yeah, I like that.
The jukebox.
Oh, that is so nice.
Yeah, she did an amazing job. She made this look like lights, like it should have, but it's just basically paint. So it's pretty nice. This is one she's working on for me. I asked her because I saw at a train show on a guy's layout, he had a little wire coming out of a pole, and it came out, and there was a bird, like a hawk or something, flying around. I said, could you make a nest, a nesting eagle, and a flying eagle, and we'll put it on a little wire, and then people can just basically motorize it. So that's what this is. I don't have a source for the motors as of yet, but that'll come with time. So
Dwight at Northern Star wants to know, will you be making any 1/25th scale things for model cars?
1/25th. So 1 to 125. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
We have not as yet, but if there's something you like, that's why it's called all scale. We make a significant amount of stuff in 64 scale that we don't list on our website. We sell that in the farm diorama business. So 1/25 is a good scale, so it fits into our build platform. So yes.
Yeah, good. Drew Dude's model train wants to know about, do you do pigeons?
We've never done pigeons.
Rats with wings.
Exactly. Okay, so guys, this is an HO scale rabbit on the left, and the one on the right is an N scale rabbit. Now, you think about how small a penny is. That rabbit is so hard to see, but we have sold a significant amount of these, and I don't know what people do with them, because in N scale they would just like disappear because they're so small, but that's what they want. So yeah, there's an N scale rabbit.
Nice, very nice.
Yep. So there's a car. That one just came. This one just got finished, and we'll be selling this in a group of cars, probably in N and Z scale only at this point, until we figure out a less expensive way to make them in HO scale. So we had a local guy ask us if we would do circus wagons. So this circus wagon is about 3.5 inches long, maybe 4 inches long. This is called the Hemispheres Wagon. And this is one of the old original. So this was a cast metal model in O scale. And we scanned it. And this was before Allison started. So the detail on this is not where it should be. But we'll clean it up. And anyway, it's a really cool. It's the only one you can buy right now.
Right.
So it comes as a wagon kit with the bench, with the seats in it and everything. So this is a cage wagon, also the same scale. This is a replica of the
Mother
Mother
Goose.
Goose. Yep. So the same type of wagon comes with it, and you can get a series of 3 different things on top. There's the old woman in the shoe, and then there's also, and I don't see it pictured here, the Prince Charming and Cinderella. So along with the circus group, or along with the circus wagons, we were asked to do circus people. So this is a lady riding a horse, and I don't know where her foot went, but she does not have a foot for some reason.
Oh.
So we have the fat lady, the bearded lady, and the clown getting ready, sitting on a crate, and then the Uncle Sam on stilts. So
Right.
all right, here's some of the things that are coming soon. We have Texas Longhorns.
Nice.
So we are doing those. We have regular cows, and we'll work on those. We have chickens. We have the state bird of South Dakota, the Chinese ringneck pheasant. We have produce in a stand. And these are all just renderings. That's why they look like they do. These are just coming off the CAD. We have golfers. We have elk, and a little elk and mama elk and whatever. We have these pronghorn, or what are they called? Whatever, sheep. Mountain goats. Thank you. So, and the reason that she did this pose is because, so we have the ability to make these, animate these, and so we can pose them in whatever shape you want to pose them in. So you can take a mountain goat and we can sell it in this form, or we can sell it like this, or however we want to make it. So once she has the art done of the mountain goat, then she can go through and make whatever pose you want. So the reason I bring that up is because people have asked about having a conductor hanging off the side of a train with one hand. And, you know, that's, once we have the conductor, it's pretty simple. So these are the cars, and they're not scaled in this, basically because we don't want to infringe on someone else's copyright or trademark. So I went to a train show and I bought about 35 or 40 old cars, old models that had no markings on them, no name on them, no nothing. They were super cheaply made originally, and then we just scanned them in, and so we'll create cars out of those, because cars take a significant amount of time to build or to draw. So
Right.
That's pretty much it on that. So that's kind of what I had for photos. And the only other thing I wanted to mention to you guys was the future. So because polymers are so amazing and we do so much work with polymers, but we wanted to take the next step. So what we've done is we've just invested a significant amount of money into metal. So this is what's coming. These are metal 3D prints. They are printed using stainless steel powder and basically welded in place with a laser. a very high energy, very accurate, very efficient laser. This is the surface finish that comes off the part or comes out of the machine. So they're very accurate, very high surface finish, very good quality. So that's what we're working on right now. We have a machine that has arrived. We have a building that's being built. We have the environmental controls are going in this next week, and we should be up and running with that in probably about 30 days.
Wow. You guys are really off the hook.
You know, our main goal is to provide jobs to a small town. We're in a town of 500 people, and we're next to a city of 200,000 people. But most young people go to school and leave, and we're trying to provide jobs to keep those kids here, and also provide jobs for the person that doesn't want to drive and doesn't want to commute and wants to work close to home. So.
Well, that's great. That is absolutely great. And you also have a program in place where you take kids from the local college, to work as interns. Is that correct?
We do. We have 4 of the people we have on staff full time now were interns, and we have 1 or 2 interns almost every quarter. So we try and keep these kids coming through and give them a chance to see what this is and see what the technology is about. And most of them are literally just blown away. I mean, they come in and they go, "Wow, I didn't know this was available." I'm like, "You're a senior in college." Well, they don't teach us in college, so.
Right. You got to take a playbook out of Mike Rowe's.
Exactly.
Get hands-on experience.
Right.
And actually see what the working world is like and what you're capable of doing, just because it's in a book.
You don't have to love what you're doing. You have to be willing to accept that you're doing it, and then it becomes something you like.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Very true.
Mike Rowe is a good example on that. He talks about, these singers that go on like American Idol, and nobody's ever told them that they're horrible, because nobody ever wanted to hurt their feelings, but they're horrible.
Right.
And, they make a fool of themselves. Well, I'll work harder. Some people just can't sing,
Right.
So,
well, as my man Clint Eastwood said, every man's got to know his limitations.
Right.
So, it's a hard pill to swallow. I myself growing up, wanted to be a Swedish swimsuit model, but that absolutely went out the window. And, that's why I worked for the Transit Authority, because I couldn't sing and dance either. So I had to take a job where I just sat in a cab and operated a train all day. But hey, man's got to know his limitations.
There you go. And I'm still not sure what I want to be when I grow up. So
yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm 65, and all the rules don't apply to me anymore. I say what I want when I want, and my wife is constantly like, "I don't know this guy. I don't know who he is. I'm sorry." And here's a good question, and I'm glad that Tina brought it up. She wants to know, does Ladd have a model railroad? And if not, does he have a different appreciation for those that do and look for details on their layout?
So unfortunately, I do not have a model railroad. I did when I was a kid. My grandpa had Lionel trains, and I lived for a while in Laramie, Wyoming, and we went to see the big boy, and having the big Lionel trains above the living room, the windows on a little shelf was what I grew up with. I don't have a model train set up. I do appreciate details, though. I do like cars. There's a Jeepster sitting there. I have a Jeepster that I drive. That's my daily driver. 1971 Jeepster. I've restored several cars, and I understand what it takes. And for me, the thing with restoration is getting it right. So like the first car that we did was 1926 Model T. And we made sure that every pin that was supposed to be brass was brass, and every pin that was supposed to be metal was metal. And, it was an original restoration. It wasn't a rat rod or street rod or anything like that. And I get it. So I also think that if you're going to make something if you're going to take the time to make anything, you might as well make it good. I mean, there's no sense of making it, just crappy.
Right.
And I leave that up to my employees. We have 12 or 14, I guess 13, 14 people that work here. And so they get to be the QA person. They get to QA inspect. So if they're building something and they don't like it, they get to reject it and build it again. And, because they have to have pride. They have to take care in what they're doing. And, it really is something that you train into the system, is you train the system to be a positive, good influence. So why would we send somebody a junk part when, we should send them what we would want to get, and that would be a nice part. So
yeah, exactly. And again, like I said earlier, it's, it shows in the workmanship, it shows in the quality that you produce. And when you get it, the consumer, get it in my hand and look at it, I'm not worried about defects. I'm just worried about how I'm going to paint it. And
right.
those are the things you want, not having to think about it. We're quick to complain when something doesn't go right, but then when it is right, we just take it for granted and we go about our business, where it's like sometimes we have to sit back and, like, to be quite honest with you, when I got the welding thing, I've had a few welding kits here, and I was looking at this and it was well made. I'm not an expert in 3D printing, but I said, this is well made, it's well thought out, and the whole thing. Yes, I did say that, for those that are listening. I'm not, I'm smart. I could have been ahead of the family, and stuff like that. But
so my appreciation for it is, I think it's really cool. I mean, I really do. It'd be fun to be part of someday, but I tend to have so many irons in the fire the way it is. It's not
primary manufacturing. You work for you do a host of everything, right? Aeronautics and industrial farming and environmental stuff as well.
We do. We make, for example, we make a nozzle for a machine that collects mold spores and samples that. That's a custom made nozzle. We make this part right here, which happens to be this is a mechanism that raises and lowers commercial windows. So it's like a balance to raise and lower commercial windows. So that's a part we make. This part here is for a great big giant field sprayer. The goal with this is also our design. The goal with this is to reduce wasted chemical. So you put exactly the amount of chemical that you want on the field, exactly where you want it. So this mixes the chemical at the section on the back of the sprayer instead of in the tank. So you never have extra in the tank. You don't have any that's already mixed that you have to throw away or worry about getting rid of. It puts exactly what you want on. When it's done, this little valve here will shut it off. You run a minute worth of water through there and it's cleaned out. So
wow.
So that's the kind of stuff that we do on a regular basis. This is another unique part that we make for industry. This is a part for motorcycles. It goes on the tweeter housing of a stereo for a motorcycle. Trying to see what else I have. This is a backup camera mount for the back of a Toyota car. And there's a lot of stuff that's proprietary that I can't show you because it hasn't come out yet. So, and we also work with inventors. I got a call today from an inventor from Brewster, New York. Brewster? Yeah, Brewster, New York.
Know it well.
So yeah, and we've got some cool inventions that we did, and I don't see them on my desk. One's called the Arctic Sombrero, which is fun. It's a local guy came in and he said, "Hey, I have this idea. Can you make it for me?" And it's a cover for your Yeti cooler that you clamp a beer into, and then you put ice water in your cooler and stick it down in there, and you get a super cold beer all the time while you're drinking it. So, and it also conceals the beer.
Yeah, so there's no fine, no ticket, no. And you can smoke the joint outside and not get harassed,
or you can drink the water out. So yeah, we made a minnow catcher for a guy that's called a minnow hopper, and you put it in the water, and the minnow swims into it, and you flip it up, and it's got the minnow loaded, so you can hook it for fishing.
Nice.
Everything from we did COVID swabs. We've done hearts for testing medical devices. So we've done silicone hearts. So really? Everything under the sun. It's never boring. Never boring.
And all that stuff that comes out as the byproduct, the leftover is then reconstituted and reused into
into some.
all scales miniature.
Yep. And then every once in a while, something like this. I needed a card holder for my desk. So one of my employees made me this little card holder recently. And again, out of waste resin. So
Right, there we go. So nothing. So the machines are used to their ultimate capacity.
right.
Yeah. Well, that is so cool, Lad. Lad, I want to thank you so very, very much for coming on. I know that your time is very busy, and I want to thank you because I know it's early in the evening there, and you're still working. And I want to thank you very much for coming on Who's Big Bill Talking To. It was great talking to you, and I'm really gonna. I know a lot of guys are gonna be like buying your, looking at the website allscaleminiature.com. Please go look at it, buy it, a lot of it. Go buy a lot of it, and so this way we can get this other stuff made that we like.
Well, and we really appreciate it. And if you guys have examples of things that you want, like I've got several things written down here, but if you have examples, just send us an email. There should be a contact or an email form on there. Get us the information on what you want and keep checking back. Like I said, we got about 100 things on the list right now, but we have no reason not to continue. I mean, we just continue making these things, and the sales are there, and as they get more and more, we'll make more and more things. So
Yeah, and I had a previous question from my friend Frank. I'm trying to go back. He wanted to know. I guess it would be. Would I think Frank wanted to know about making. Oh, how about subway cars that could be put together, like side panels, front ends? R42s, R32. Well, you wouldn't know what those are, but
I was going to say. So here's the thing. I think the nearest subway is probably. Does Chicago have? They have an L, but I don't know if Chicago has a subway.
Yeah, they have a subway.
So Chicago would be the closest, and we're 8 hours from Chicago.
Right.
So I have no idea.
All right.
If they can, so here's the really cool thing. If you can keep parts small and a lot of them on a platform, we can make them reasonably priced. So panels are a great idea. So if you have panels that are 3 inches tall and 1 inch wide or 2 inches wide and 1/4 of an inch thick or 1/8 of an inch thick, those would be quick and easy because a lot of them will build at a time. The problem is when you get a big part like this, right? So you get a large part like this, it's big, it's bulky. We can maybe get 2 of these on our platforms, or maybe 3. So all of a sudden you're running this for 3 hours, and you can figure out the hourly rate if the machines cost $50,000 a year. That's a lease. We don't get to own them. That's a lease, and we pay that every year. So the machines get pretty expensive. So,
right. So in essence of what would it take to like those subway cars? Would you need an exact drawing of it?
So, no, not necessarily. I mean, it depends. If it's something that you want custom, like if you want a custom thing, we can do the CAD, and that wouldn't be a big deal. And the nice thing about the people we have working here, they do so much CAD, they're really fast.
Right.
Like really fast. And, they're not trying to milk it either because they have all these other jobs lined up to do.
Right.
So, if the other thing we can do for you too is we can give people a quote. So if they want to know what it would take to do, 25 or 50 panels or something like that, give us a call. We'll set you up with one of our manufacturing engineers, and we'll have them work with you to give you a quote.
Yeah, that sounds like a good thing. So it's an all-round shop there, which is really good. So I encourage all you guys out there, if you have things you want to have that you haven't seen, please give All Scales Models Miniatures a call and let them know. Lad, once again, thank you so very, very much for being on the show. Greatly appreciate it.
Well, and Bill, thank you. This has been a great time. It's been fun talking to you, and I hope people got something out of it. One of the things I like to do just personally is I like to educate. It doesn't matter who the audience is. I like to help educate people. That's my sales pitch. I don't sell things. I really don't. I try and educate on what we can do. And if it kicks in your mind and you go, oh, hey, they could do this, that'll sell it for itself. Right. It's something that, we really want to tell people what we can do. So
Drew, one last question. Well, not really a question, but he says, Drew Dudes Model Trains wants to know, can you print money?
I would guess the machines probably, but we don't have any plastic money here. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you the other question that I figured was going to get asked tonight, and that is, can you print plastic guns? And the answer is absolutely, positively, it's against the law for a business to 3D print guns.
Yeah.
Unless they're a federal firearms manufacturer, and we are not. And so that's the answer.
Yeah. Well,
I get that a lot. Well, you got these really nice printers. Can you print? No, we can't print guns.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think money might be a problem too. So
yeah, I think so. I think in the long run it would.
And even the metal money, I think, would be a problem because I don't think that works so well. And how long would it take to print quarters to make any money at it anyway?
This is true. You know, you could use them at the laundromat, I guess. But
yeah, go to prison for 40 years for printing $35 in quarters.
Anyway. All right. Let me just take care of this business. Guys, if you're listening and you're still around, we want to thank Lad McClusky for being on the show. AllScaleMiniaturePrints.com. Go check him out and check out his website. And like he said, he seems to be very open about if you have ideas, anything you want, give him a ring, send him an email. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Hey, just wanted to also, before we go, I wanted to give you a heads up about the Nearly Historical Railroad. Don G just recently put out a brand new video, and you guys got to go check out that video. It is off the hizzy, I'm telling you. Go check it out. Nearly Historical Railroad. Please go check out his latest video. Railroad Empires, How We Build Them, will be coming back in September, gearing up for new season, new shows, new ideas. Johnny's Train Talk Show will be back also in September. He's getting ready and gearing up some ideas. Like I said, he's sitting around and lounging someplace, drinking Mai Tais with that little umbrella in it. So hopefully, he's relaxing and rejuvenating himself. And next week's guest is going to be Tina from Mojave Model Railroad. She'll be on next Wednesday, July 21st, 2021 at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tune in for that. I want to thank our guest. I want to thank Ari McKeevy. I'm sorry, I'm talking too fast. That's the New Yorker in me. I want to thank Ari for doing the production and the directing, and again to Lad McClusky from All Scale Miniatures, Railroad 3D Printing, for being on the show. With that said, did we? There was one more. Once again, apologize to Rod Stewart for not having you on. We got really caught up in the 3D printing. I'll get you on next show, hopefully. Let's see. Please don't be mad. Don't be angry. It'll be all right. Until next time, you guys be well. You be safe. You be blessed. And we'll see you on the radio.